Welcome back to the Essex Rotary channel. In this week's video we're going to be talking about one of the most important things which is often overlooked on an EFI system, and that's getting a good battery ground. Welcome back guys. This week we've got an FD in for a little bit of work. It's got a shockingly bad quality temporary battery ground being fitted, and we need to get it sorted. On a modern EFI system, electronics, they're massively important, especially getting a good ground for your ECU. And let's be honest, if the one battery ground that goes to your negative terminal on your battery is loose as hell, it's not doing anything any favours. All of your ECU's sensor readings are going to be off because it's not got a good quality ground, even though the grounds to maybe the chassis are good. But if the circuit isn't complete and you've got a loose negative terminal, or in this case it was a temporary terminal fitted, which you'll see in a minute, the temporary terminal was fitted onto a stripped cable, and it just hadn't crimped properly. So in this video we're actually going to go across the proper way to repair something like that. So we're going to be stripping the wires back once we've removed them if they're needed, cleaning them up, crimping them with a good quality hydraulic crimp tool onto the new ring terminal, and then we're going to be replacing both negative and positive terminals with our enhanced battery clamps, which are stupidly affordable on our website. So with that said, let's head out to the workshop. We'll show you what's what. So, commonly changed thing on most cars, dodgy battery clamps. In this case, this is what we're talking about. I don't think I'm going to be able to get this out of the way. So it's not in the way. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so with that removed, we can see what we're talking about without a bonnet prop being in the way. Essentially, someone has replaced stock negative battery clamp with a universal one, and that's not doing anyone any favours. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to re-crimp a terminal on here. We're going to repair it properly essentially. We're going to crimp a terminal on here with a hydraulic crimp tool, pretty affordable to find on Amazon if you just need a one-off job. Replace both positive and negative terminals with our enhanced battery terminals, which are basically chunky ones with this stock hold down posts, and basically get it in a condition that he's not going to have a dodgy earth, because this is the main, this is the only ground from the battery to the chassis. So with that said, let's get on with it. First thing to do when working on any electrical system, and especially in this case, is we need to remove the negative battery terminal. And basically, that's the correct side. Remove the negative to basically make the electrical system start. That loose, I'm actually going to crack these off now before we go ahead and remove the terminal. They were nice and tight. Probably didn't even need to crack them off, but there we go. Wiggle that off. Now we're going to remove these quality terminal clamps. These terminals are normally only designed as a temporary fix. They're not meant to be there as a permanent solution. So don't be buying these and going, oh, they're fine, because yeah, you can see well, in this case there's a small crimp in there. It's not holding anything down properly. So we'll go ahead, we'll tidy this up, we'll get a ring terminal on it, crimp it down, heat shrink the whole 9 metres, because we're in metric band, instead of 9 yards, and yeah, we'll be good. So the first thing we need to do is determine just how big this cable is, and ideally we don't want to be twisting it up, but we need to know roughly what size the cable is so we can actually size it correctly for the correct ring terminal. I'm going to go and get my box of ring terminals and find out what fits. Okay, so we've determined the terminal size for this particular application. It's got an 8mm ring terminal in, so it actually fits the same as this kind of post. With that done, we also need to make sure that it fits on the cabling, which this, with a little twist, it fits quite nicely. We're going to trim this up so it actually fits. Once we've crimped it down with a hydraulic crimp, it fits nice and tight and snugly. We're also going to put a little bit of dual wall heat shrink over the back. With that done, obviously it should be good to then stick the terminal on. So bear with us, we'll get the rest of the bits and we'll be good to crimp this in a minute. So we've rounded the terminal off on the edges, get rid of the sharp edges. Just going to trim the end of the battery cable off a little bit. So it's tidy with some wire shears. With dual wall heat shrink. I'm going to leave a small gap between the back of the ring terminal and the casing. So battery terminals. So we're going to pop the negative in place. It'll help us orientate where the ring terminal needs to go. So, spot on there. We're actually going to flip this over so it sits a little bit lower. That done, it's time to crimp it on. So with a hydraulic crimper, we just want to crimp it down slowly. And make sure the wires are seated into the terminal. And seated nicely. Slowly go ahead and crimp the terminal down. That's done. That's done, we've got a nice tight crimp on it. Pull. Not going anywhere. And we're just going to chuck some dual wall heat shrink on there with the heat gun. I'll hit this with some heat. With the dual wall, it's actually glue lined, so you've normally, depending on what it is, you've normally got a black or a clear layer of glue which will squeeze out. That will make sure that this is all nice and sealed, minimise moisture ingress. With that done, we'll leave it to cool, get the battery terminals on, and then we should be good to fire it up. No more grounding problems, or at least from the battery terminals anyway. Pop that over to one side. We're also going to replace the live because that one's looking past its best. Live done, and just ground. with that done and a few simple tools, we've got nice reliable power connection. So there we have it. Why do I say there we have it all the time? But yeah, there you go. Really simple way of actually making sure you've got good solid ground connections. Obviously the same can be applied if you're relocating the battery to the boat, where you're going to want some good quality terminals, some high quality wire as well in that case, but well crimped so there's no movement, and you've got a good solid circuit, both positive or live, positive, whatever you want to call it, and negative, battery ground, chassis ground, whatever. But essentially the important thing is that the live and the ground, or negative, however you want to put it, have both got a good solid connection to the battery, and especially your ground has also got a good quality connection to the chassis as well. So the ECU and all the various sensors that it's relying on to run the vehicle actually get the correct voltage. Wrong voltage means wrong readings mean poor running engine. It's something that's often overlooked when you're trying to diagnose a fault, or a customer's trying to diagnose a fault. And let's be honest, the terminals which Mazda fit to these, after a little while, they're less than optimal. So with that said, thanks very much for watching, guys. Thanks for sticking around. We've got some new content coming up. Sneak peek being, and this is a well overdue episode. We've got an RX7 fuel pump upgrade video going. Basically, because we've got a broken fuel pump on a car, so we're basically going to be going through the steps required to install an upgraded fuel pump. In our case, well, I don't know what's in this. But normally it'd be a Stealth 340, and also the modifications to this little boy here, the Venturi valve. What needs to be done, that'll be coming in a future episode. But in the meantime, stay up to date with everything that's going on at Essex Rotary. You'll find us on social media at Essex Rotary Specialists on Facebook, and at Twitter and Instagram, sorry. You'll find us at Essex Rotary. Our web shop, where you'll be able to order your various enhanced battery terminals and whatnot, and various other goodies, is essexrotarystore.com, and our main website, which also leads to our web shop, is slipped my mind. Our main website is essexrotary.co.uk. Shouldn't have forgot it really, should I? But there we go. So yes, we'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode. In the meantime, smash that like button. I think it's there, or the subscribe button and the like button, and don't forget to click the bell to stay up to date with notifications on when we put out new videos. We've got a few more that are due to be edited. I know we've been away for a while, but yeah, we'll look forward to keeping you updated. Catch you in the next one.